Hello, beautiful and beloved ones. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions. And if you wonder about that strange name, stick around to the end. I'm going to give you a special message about this historic shift from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness happening for the whole planet. Never happened before. So stick around for that. Meanwhile, we're going to start with a reaction to Erik Grönwall, I Will Always Love You. This should be interesting. A prominent rock singer singing I Will Always Love You. Here we go.
Let's
start it back again. I think we missed a little.
If I should stay, I would only be in your way, so I'll go, but I know I'll think of you every step of the way. And I will always love you. I will always love you.
Beautiful voice. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I've never heard him before. Let's hear that again from And I Will Always Love You.
And that is all I'm taking with me. So goodbye, please don't cry. We both know I'm not what you need.
So universal, right? Oh, he's about to do something pretty cool. We'll have to go back a little. But it's so universal. Love is so universal. It doesn't matter if you're an opera singer or if you're a pop star or if you're a rock singer. Everybody knows that feeling of deep love for someone. Let's go back a little and see this build up to what he's going to do here. I'm interested. Here we go. Pretty beautiful, wasn't it? That saxophone solo. Let's go back and hear that again. That's definitely a second take one.
treat you kind. And I hope you have all you dreamed of. And I wish you joy and happiness. But above all this, I wish you love. And I will always love
this song, didn't he? Let's hear this end part again. Wow, he just rocked it. My goodness gracious. Wow. And by the way, as a singer, I can tell you, I don't know how these rock singers do that. Because when I try to sing out like that, I hurt my vocal cords. And then I get scratchy. I can't hardly speak after that. There's some technique to it that you're able to do that, and I have no idea how they do it like that, that level. So that's really quite extraordinary. And boy, did he rock that. And just like, boy, doesn't it give you such a feeling of fulfillment when they just give it their all, right? And just like every ounce of their voice and their ability and their emotion, like just out there. So fulfilling, so fulfilling. Oh, my goodness. This guy, he knows what he's doing. He's not messing around. Let's see, if you want to put this on my scale. Oh, first of all, don't forget to, if you enjoyed this, like mine, like his, it's in the notes, and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And by the way, give me a comment. Those of you who are singers, what is about that technique? How is that done? And those of you who are not singers, could you even possibly do that without hurting your voice? I'm telling you. So give me a comment. But, so what was I going to say? So let's see, my scale. My fifth dimensional scale. 1 being very third dimensional, fear, pain, sadness, anger. 10 being very fifth dimensional, love, peace, joy, bliss, abundance. And, just the sound of it. Like, so the sound of this song is always, just so soothing, so beautiful, such a good feeling. Then in the way he does it, it gets a little brassy at the end. So, but it's not like peaceful and calming, but it's still uplifting in that sense of that freedom and that like ability to just like throw it all out there. There are some third dimensional elements to it, is like the the sadness of leaving someone you love, and that there even should be sadness to leave someone you love, because in the higher dimensions there's so much love. You couldn't be sad about leaving anybody, because there's always more and more and more and more and more. Okay, so those are some third dimensional aspects, but still a very uplifting song. I'm giving this one a solid 8. Great job, Grönwall. Erik, is it? I think it is. Yes, great job, Erik. Thank you. Okay, so by the way, if you'd like to know a little bit about me, you can go to the About Me video on this channel, and it leads you to a longer video about my sort of forged in the fire journey here on this third dimensional earth. And if you want to know some of the things I've created that might be helpful to you to uplift yourselves, go to the notes, the link in the notes about Lorelei on Patreon. So, whew, what a great thing. What a great song. That's always a great song, and it's always interesting to see all the different ways that people can do it. And if you notice, nowadays you've got styles mixing. Like you had a pop kind of style and a soft kind of, and then it went to the rock style. You got styles mixing and matching, which is really wonderful, because listen, we're human beings. We're not all one thing, right? I like so many different kinds of music, from rock to classical to opera to show tunes to jazz to soul. I grew up with soul, Aretha Franklin and Tina Turner. Just like so many different kinds of music I enjoy. And we're all like that. We're not just a one thing, right? There's no one size fits all when it comes to music. There's and it's so wonderful to see it mixing and matching, just like the many, many emotions we all have, right? We have so much depth. So it's wonderful to see that. But let's get to my fifth dimensional message, which is, how does life change when we know we are divine sparks of God? So that asserts right there that when we know we are divine sparks of God, life changes. And let me first relate this to the fifth dimension so you understand why I'm even talking about it in this consciousness shift from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness. Because in fifth dimensional consciousness, we do know that we are God's sparks. We have the full power and ability of the divine coursing through our veins at all times, if we have veins. It depends if we're in a physical body or not, but we have it coursing through our beingness at all times, right? So we absolutely know that we are those divine sparks of God when we're in the higher realms. And miracles are not even miracles. They're just commonplace. They're just normal. You can manifest, say, apple, and it comes into your hand. Say, set this room up for a ballroom, just like Bewitched, and you don't even have to wiggle your nose, but just say it, and there it is. It's all set, right? Set up the instruments for a symphony. It's all set, we have really, truly the divine power of the divine. And when we get to the fifth dimension, we know it. Now, there's been like a whole lot of, a lot of like running around chasing our tails in religions and such, where they tell us, you're really bad, so you gotta come to God, and God will is the only way, Jesus or whatever, right? Because you're so rotten, come to God. It's the only way because you're so rotten, and all that, right? And so what happens inside of that circle, right? You either feel like you're so rotten, you got to be saved, but then that brings you back to rotten again. And you got so rotten, it just always keeps bringing you back to how rotten you are. And the truth of the matter is, when you talk about the 17 plus years spent in personal growth and more years as a life coach type of thing that I spent, the more a person sees the badness in him or herself, the more he or she will show up as that badness, right? Because if you're a dog, of course you're going to bark. If you think you're a dog, you're going to bark. If you think you're a cat, you're going to meow, right? So if you see the badness in yourself and you think you are that, then you're going to show up like that. And as a matter of fact, to a person, pretty much, if you ask someone who commits really bad, evil deeds, are you a divine spark of God? They're going to say no, for sure not. Because you know what? If they thought they were a divine spark of God, then they would go about the business of doing the things that a divine spark of God does. Coming at people with love and compassion and generosity and kindness and truth and understanding. That's what a person does when they think they're a divine spark of God. It's just a natural thing. I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? What you think you are is how you're going to show up. But then, of course, religions are pushing you down, saying, "Oh yeah, no, you're really not great. You're really not, really, you're bad. You have to give money because you're so bad." I mean, this has been almost like we would say a concerted effort to make sure people continue to think they're bad, which continues to have badness going on in the world, which continues to allow people to be taken advantage of, or be subjugated, or put under, some control or some power. It's really a controlling power, be it a king back in the day, be it politicians nowadays, any of those controlling powers that want to hang on to control. They got to make you think that you are small and you're not this amazing, wonderful person. Because if you think you're this amazing, wonderful, divine spark of God, you're going right out of their control. Because you have the freedom to do that. You have the ability to do that. We all have that ability, right? You will not be able to be controlled unless they keep you small and feeling bad about yourself. So the truth of the matter is, contrary to the popular thoughts, that like I am so, I'm so bad that I must be saved and all this. Now, there's a lot of good things that come out of, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of wonderful good things that come out of, say, Christianity and all the different religions, Buddhism or whatever. They all have wonderful things that come out of them. But each one of them has a spark of untruth, which kind of undermines the power of it. So when the church says, we have to do good works and think about others and be caring and be Christian in our thoughts, or whatever it may be, or, when the church tells us that, but then tells us that we are not those kind of people, that's like a mixed message, right? I mean, how are you going to come up with people being good, generosity, kindness, etc., if you're telling them that they're not that? That makes no sense, right? Unless, of course, you want to control a population of people. Then it makes sense. So then you can keep people in confusion for their whole life long, right? And, I know this will fly badly with a lot of, like, say, born-again Christian types and things like that. But even Jesus himself said, brethren. He called us brethren. He did not, in those days, want us to kneel down to him and say, you're a deity and you're a God and I'm terrible but you're great. That's not what he wanted from the people then. He wanted them to stand on their own 2 feet, embrace their own divinity, right? The Father within, he even said, right? The Father within. And walk like that on the earth, right? And he thought of us as brothers and sisters, right? So this is another thing, that whole business of, thinking that you got to subjugate yourself to one who is really truly a brother to you, like a divine spark of God, just like you are, but maybe a little further down the path than you are in your journey, right? But to subjugate yourself to that was never what was wanted or expected of that situation. So, I think I did a video on the entire, sort of the entire plan or game plan, if you will, from the higher beings when Jesus did come to the earth. You can take a look for that in my messages, in my various videos. So, but the long and the short of it just comes down to, and you can't even argue it because it just is how it is. However you think you are is how you are. So when we think that we are divine, amazing sparks of God, that's when we get to live in a world of angels and archangels, right? And galactic higher dimensional beings and all of that. Once we think we fit in there, that we actually belong in there, right? So Okay, beloved ones, I'm sending you that beautiful fifth dimensional energy. The love, the peace, the joy, the bliss, the knowing, like you know, like you know, like you know, that you are a divine spark of God. Here it comes. Namaste. I honor the God in you.